Good morning. Welcome to SEM, the School of Excellence in Ministry at Word of God Christian Center. We're located at 426 Baywood Road in Fayetteville, North Carolina, where our pastors are Superintendent Gary Allen Sr. and First Lady Linda Allen. Again, I would like to recap on a few things of the topic that I was speaking on last week, which was warfare intercessions, partners with truth. Last week we talked about warfare intercessors. Spiritual warfare intercessors fight on one for one thing, and that's for truth. We know truth and flourish in it. When we stay dependent on Jesus and the Word or truth made flesh, we refrain from living independently from God, and this keeps excuse me keeps us from trying to live without God. It's important that we allow God in every issue in our life, every part of our life. So we have to make sure that when we're praying, that we're praying and our prayer is built in spirit and in truth. So we're aware that the enemy comes to steal, to kill, and to destroy. Therefore, we understand that through truth, the enemy can't plant lies. The enemy comes every day trying to instill doubt, fear, and with lies in our lives. And we have to be so careful that when we're praying, that we don't let those things come into our mind. So warfare intercessors reveal and unmask the lies of the deceiver and his tactics. Fear can be addressed in two forms. Again, it was reverence or awe, which releases us to enter into rest and receive his power. Isaiah 26:3 states, "Thou will keep thee and keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee, because he trusteth in thee." We have to trust in the Lord with everything that we have in order to be able to go into warfare. Or we can address it as having terror or fright. That paralyzes the heart's ability to communicate with the head, and destroys its ability to function. So when you when you're paralyzed by fear, first of all, you can't communicate with God, you can't talk to God, and you can't even function. So we have to be careful about that. Now, peace with God allows us to be at rest and concentrate on what is good, acceptable, and perfect. So when we know the promises of God, we become heirs, and we claim them, and it's not and the enemy is not able to deceive us, the counterfeits and lies. So God will give you discernment. He will give you discernment about a lot of things, and you have to be careful when you're saying prayers and you're doing intercessions, because you don't want the enemy to sneak in. Sometimes you have to have people that you call on pray with you, but you got to know they're in the right mind, in the right spirit, right along with you. Um, so when we know the promises of God, we become heirs and we claim them, and then the enemy is not able to deceive us. You know, um, Satan still stays on the job now. He got a job, and his job is to accuse the brethren and make him believe the lies that he tells him. So by giving God the glory, by, we come out by the power of God, and we are delivered. Now we have to know God. We can't just let evil thoughts overtake us, or we can't become distracted by no means by the cares of the world. We have to fight to not let Satan render us powerless. Mother always prays as don't let Satan render you powerless on the prayer call. And there's a lot of things that we come in contact with. We think that we are so strong about certain, but sometimes I've seen people that I really thought was strong in the faith, and I can say sometimes myself, something can hit me, and I'm like, you rock, shake, I'm shook, and you have to come back, and you have to back up and regroup. So as warfare intercessors, we fight to usher in truth, establish God's authority, for Satan has strongholds on people. Like I think the other day, Elder was praying, just praying over the region, and about pretty much about the things that's going on, asking God for the protection of the children, just protection for everyone in general. And so that's a good thing when somebody knows how to pray for where they're at, because if we have problems in different places, like we say, they call the intercessors the military might of prayer. So my thought is that when you have people that are there praying, that you want people that are strong, people that go before the Lord before they even start praying, and ask Him to give them discernment about what to pray for. So I look at the intercessors as those that are anointed with spiritual perception to discern the evil spirits that reign over various territories. So I noticed that a lot of times on the prayer call, people are praying about mother prayer about different things in the area, elder prayers about different things in the area. Different ones in the church, they pray about different things in the area, just to just to cover, just to cover that area. Um, you know, we have others that have been anointed with spiritual perception to discern the evil spirit that reigns over various territories also. Now it says others have been anointed with strategies for establishing God's authority in places where the devil has taken both spiritual and physical ground. So as I was reading the Intercessors book, it spoke of a gentleman by the name of George Otis Jr., and he was a research intercessor, and he had been anointed to do both through the prayer of through the power of prayer. So by setting up prayers that declare truth in the face of fear. So it was talking about that his wife had came to him and told him that she was expecting a child, but also they said that child could possibly born with Down syndrome and water. I think it's like something that had to do with water. So they prayed, and the child was born. There was no problems or anything, but the enemy still was after this child. So I think the child was like 3 or 4 years old. They had gathered at a family function, and the child slipped off. And the grandmother, she said, I guess she was like, "Where's the child at?" She went outside and found the child floating in the water. So they got the child to the hospital and everything, and they started praying. Started praying as they took the child there. They didn't know if the child was gonna live or not, and they called in different people for prayer. Now, the thing about when you call people in for prayer, you got to have like-minded people. You got to make sure that when you call on people, they're not, well, I don't know, maybe get back with me or something like that. Sometimes it is a 911 call, and that was a 911 call. The child stayed in the hospital for a while. Anyway, the child recovered. And what I was reading, it was like this child had been the enemy was after the child from the time of conception to the time of birth, and his goal was to take her out. But he had strong people there that prayed for that child, and that child recovered, had no issue after drowning, because she had no wasn't alive. In other words, got to the hospital. Pretty much they were just like resuscitating her and things like that. So you have to make sure that you have people that are like minded, and by setting up prayers that declare truth in the face of fear. You know, intercession warfare begins with being informed about the issue at hand. So what he did, he prayed. Then he called on the saints to pray too, and they formed a prayer like a prayer chain, and all the ministries that he was attached to, they prayed. They prayed over this child, and nobody spoke anything negative. They just kept praying and just kept interceding for this child, and then she came out all right. Okay, so when she called for prayer, and some of those to help you, other you call people near and far, as I stated, to pray against the spirit, because Satan is here to devour us. And I was reading the definition of devour, that's to swallow or drown. So when this child was born, they was talking about water. Before she was born, they were talking about water. And then the enemy went that far as to push her to go near the water and to drown. And it was the prayers of those people that kept her, you know. So I went back again to 1 Peter 5:8. It said your adversary, the devil, prowls about like a roaring lion seeking who he may devour. In other words, King James says, "Be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walks about seeking whom he may devour." So we always have to know, and we go into prayer, it's a serious situation, and the enemy is there to take you out. And if you don't have good people praying for you, the right people praying for you, you may go away from it. So that's the thing about that. But we go back to the intercessors. That's their job. That's their duty to do those things. So again, I say the enemy have a plan for your life. He has since your conception, your birth, and for your life you are living right now. So it's always good to pray. It's always good to let somebody know that you may need prayer. Now, warfare intercession is you in when you go to warfare intercession, you're in a fierce battle. They were in a battle for somebody's life. It's like you putting everything on the line. So you're trying to go out and say, look, if this is happening, that's going on. Hey, we need to pray. Now we need to be serious about these prayers, and we need to make sure that we make contact with the right people when we go to pray for other people. Um, I had an issue a long time ago. I used to pray with a group of people, and they're saying they're praying over territory, they're praying over people. But as they pray, they assign spirits to people. Now you can't pray for a person and say that they got a demonic spirit. That they got a I'm not gonna say it. They got some type of spirit. I put it that way. Because now I'm sitting here, I'm listening to you, and I'm saying to myself the whole while, this is going sideways. This is not right. I couldn't pray for somebody's child and say that they mean and nasty or something like that. First of all, that's somebody's child. That's somebody's child that you need to pray for. That's somebody's the child. If you see something in them, why are you not kind enough to go to them and love on them? You know, um, a lot of times I pray with my kids right now. They grown. And a lot of times when I go over there and I pray for them, I have some oil on my hand. I'm like, hey, how you doing? I'm hugging them, I'm rubbing oil on them because I want God to protect them. I want God to take care of them. And so a lot of times you gotta be careful what you saying, and you gotta be careful who's speaking over your children, and you gotta correct people when they speak wrong over your children too. Don't let it happen. Don't let them get away with it. So we have to be careful about that. Um, we know, even though we know that while doing spiritual intercession, we are in a fierce battle, spiritual battle. We know that God still sits on the throne. It is more powerful than Satan. Through warfare intercession, spiritual approach authority is approached by God's knowledge to expose the truth through his generals. So the generals are those who govern in position of authority. So you might have somebody that might lead your prayer group or something like that. I look at them as people that have been obedient to God, that walking in his authority. And when they're walking under God's authority, this authority which is delegated by God and maintained through obedience to God or to the word, God's ultimate authority. So when you're praying with people, you make sure that you're with people that are in the word, that you know that they have discernment, and you know that God has sent them, has touched them to do that. Intercession is very serious. When you start praying, it's not a thing that you just say, oh, I'm doing intercession. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes people got to be careful even about pride when it comes to doing things. You know, sometimes you have people that they pray and everybody flock to that person, and so they kind of feel like, well, yeah, they come to me, I'm kind of important or something. That's not part of God's will or word. Is that you're going in here, you're going deep into warfare for somebody. Um, As warfare intercession, we've been granted authority by God to protect and provide for people, not to control or confuse them with manipulation. So don't when you go down there and you praying for people and like sometimes I used to tell people, will you pray for me or something like that. I had to stop that because not everybody's praying for you, and everybody's not praying for your good. So we have to take the point of contact with first with God, and we have to ask God for discernment to show us things. But more than anything, when you start praying, you have to ask God to show you yourself, because you got to have the right spirit, and the right mindset when you go in and you start praying for people. I'm like this. If somebody come to me and say, "Pray for me," I pray for them right then. Why? Because I might forget later on. Now, it might be a serious situation, and they say, "Can you pray for me?" I'm gonna start what I'm doing right then. Don't be afraid or ashamed to pray for anybody, anywhere. See, I used to be like, well, I can't really be up in here in public like that. Well, look at all the other things we done in public that we didn't even think about. You know, it's just stuff that we didn't think about. Now, when it comes to us serving God and us helping other people, we like we shame now. But a lot of times you be in situations, you see situations, and you say, God, they need help. You know, sometimes you might tell a person, well, yeah, we can pray, and they be like, you gonna pray here? Yeah, this is any good a place as ever. Pray. You stay there and do what you need to do to help somebody out, because you never know. You never know what's gonna happen. Sometimes we have to look at things. Sometimes you could have prayed about a situation. I had to check myself about that. I have let a lot of people get away, and I should have prayed. I should have said something. But I thank God that sometimes He have gave me the opportunity to see them again and pray for them. You know, and a lot of times when He's given us that unction, that urge, hey, see about this person. If they come across your mind, see about this person. I had several situations where people came to my mind, but see, at the time I didn't have the discernment, so I didn't know what to do. I was just like, oh, it's a thought. But now that certain people come across my mind, I'll call them. If they don't answer, I send them a text. I just thought about you today. How you doing? I'll be praying for you. I love you, or something like that. Sometimes it's important to do those things and to tell people those things, because sometimes if you'd have spoke that word or something like that and something happened, be like, man, it was on my mind to pray for that person and I didn't do it. It was on my mind to talk to that person and I didn't do it. So we have to make sure that we're obedient to what God tells us to do, and that when we go in, we use His word. That's the ultimate authority. Also, as warfare intercessors, we have been granted, like I say, the authority to provide for people, not to control or confuse them with manipulation. So always remember that when you're praying. You know, Sometimes you see a need that a person might have, and sometimes people are, if you would just do this, this, and this, God is gonna bless you. He's gonna take care of you. This is gonna change and stuff. But sometimes you have to be kind of quiet about stuff. Sometimes you see people might be going through something you might not know, but sometimes you pray. You pray anyway, because that's what you need to do. Don't try to control somebody. But now, if you had done this, God would have done that for you, and you wouldn't have to worry about this no more. We all mess up. Sometimes we mess up a whole lot of stuff trying to be the big Willie. You know, and we don't even realize it. Then you sit back and you say, "Oh my God, I'm in such a bad situation. How did I do that?" And we do it because we don't let God take the wheel. We want to control everything. So this is our sacred ground when we go to Him to pray. And when we start praying for people, be serious about it. Praying for people. If you can't be serious about it, don't do it. Go get yourself right. and come back to God before you start praying for people. Look, says that we have been empowered to prevent evil from killing, robbing, and destroying heaven's purpose and plans for people upon this earth. That's a big deal to me. When you go in to pray for people, this is what you're supposed to be doing. The enemy is trying to kill us every day. He's trying to kill our family. He's trying to kill our friends. And if you've got any enemies, I hope you don't. He's trying to kill them too. Evil is everywhere. Evil is present everywhere. So we have to know that. And the next thing that he wants to do, he wants to rob us by destroying heaven's purpose for us and plans for us upon this earth. Satan will never make it in. He knows he'll never make it in. So he's out here throwing his little imps out here, there, and everywhere. He's attaching these spirits to people, and a lot of times we get mad with people because they have spirits of some type and stuff. Where we need to pray for them. We need to keep praying for them. Sometimes it might be family members that you just can't talk to them. You can't tell them anything. You can't get right. They can't get right. And when you say things to them, it becomes an attack. It becomes an attack. They attack you because say, look, let's sit down, let's talk about this because I think this might be a problem. Who are you talking to? What you talking about? You always criticizing me. You always putting me down or something like that. That enemy is attacking people just like that. Attacking them just like that. So when we go in here, we praying for that spirit to be destroyed. We don't want to see them taken out. We especially don't want to see them taken out without knowing God. We got a job. We got a charge. We got to make sure that everybody that we know is covered some kind of way. A lot of times if they say, well, don't pray for me, I'm all right and stuff like that. I say, okay, guess what? I'm still praying for you. Get mad, I'm still praying for you. The more you cut up, I'm still praying for you. The more you talk ugly to me, I'm still praying for you. I'm still love you. Because I'm gonna love you if I can't do nothing else. If sometimes people say things in to hurt you because that they have issues and problems and going through things, but that's not them, it's the spirit behind them. So that's why we're here to pray and to try to keep people in a situation where they're not going out of here. And the last point that I want to bring is it's according to Isaiah 58 verses 6 and 7, and it defines the mission of warfare intercessions as to bring deliverance to people in bondage so they can be set free from every kind of oppression. Such things as to provide for the needy, to cover those who are naked or being exploited through lack. A lot of times we go through that to make ourselves accessible to relatives who need our help. So our mission couldn't be any more clear than to come in here and know that we have to, this is our job, this is what we have to do, that we have to show love to each other, that we have to care about each other, and more than anything else, we have to pray for each other. And when you go to pray, again, I say, make sure that your heart is right with God, that you have godly people that are praying with you when you're praying for situations that are going on in our territories, in our regions, and even in this country. Just keep God first, and just always go to Him and make sure your heart is right when you go to prayer. So again, I just thank you all for coming to SEM this morning via internet in church, and we just ask you to come to our church and enjoy SEM and our services with our ministers. First, Pastor Gary Allen Sr. and First Lady Thunder Allen. You're always welcome at Word of God Christian Center. Thank you and have a blessed day.